The other day I was browsing through the many different half-finished videos I just have sitting around, and since the channel's been a little bit dry for the past few months and there hasn't really been much content on RuneScape I've been interested in or wanting to grind out, hopefully Group Iron Man will change this when it comes around. But I found this, a Pokémon Shield Nuzlocke, with an almost completed script and all the video files found on a forgotten hard drive recorded back in 2022. I've decided to come back and finish what I started 2 years ago. So let's jump right into it. So I decided to start a Nuzlocke on Pokémon Shield. Now I've never attempted a Nuzlocke before, so I thought it would be both an interesting challenge and a new way to think and play the game. I did play through Sword not long after it came out, and finished the TLC probably 2 years ago now, a few months before starting this Nuzlocke. So at the time I was fairly familiar with the battles and Pokemon which are available, bar the exclusives and like the alternate gyms, because this is the first time actually playing Shield. Now if you're unfamiliar with the Nuzlocke rules, they're fairly simple, but they do vary from each person depending on how hard they actually want to make the challenge. The rules I'm playing with are the following. Once a Pokemon faints, they are classed as dead, unable to be used, whether it be kept in a box or released. You can only catch the first Pokemon you find on each route, with the exception of Dupe's Claws, which is catching the same Pokemon of the evolutionary line or that actual Pokemon. However, if you do find a shiny, you can catch them whether they are a first encounter or at any point in the game. All Pokemon have to be nicknamed other than legendaries to form an emotional attachment to them. And finally, if all my Pokemon faint in a battle and the run is over, even if I have some still in the alive box. However, I will also be using items in battle since this is my first attempt. I know a lot of people don't like that, or they only use them during battles where the other trainer heals, but I did want to make it not too hard for the first one. Maybe in the future we'll come back and no items used. So the run begins. We decide to play as a girl this time around, who we call Scarlet. Now this was before Scarlet and Violet were actually announced, it just happens to be the name I name my female characters in games. Pure coincidence. But yeah, we meet up with our rival and childhood friend Hop, who is waiting for us to go and meet their brother Leon at the train station, who also happens to be the Gala region champion. After meeting Leon, we're taken back to Hop's house where Leon gives us our first Pokemon, Grookey, Scorbunny or Swabble. Now after careful consideration I decide to go with Scorbunny, since it will help out a lot with the first gym and later down the line can be very useful in the Ice Gym and a few key battles. We decided to name Scorbunny Flame mainly because this is what I normally name my fire starters, so I thought it was fitting. Hop then chooses Grookey and Swabble goes with Leon. We then enter our first battle against Hop, with his Wooloo and Grookey. The fight was quick and easy due to being 2 levels higher than the Wooloo and the type adventures against the Grookey. After the battle ends, a Wooloo breaks through a gate into Slumbering Woods, so myself and Hop go out to rescue it, but the fog seems to be too deep and we end up in a battle with an unknown Pokemon, which seems to have no effect by any of our moves. The fog eventually gets too much to bear, and we are then found unconscious by Leon, who has the Wooloo and escorts us back home. We then begin our journey. Mum gives us a few Pokeballs, and we go to Route 1 for our first encounter. The plan was to look for a Nictic, which is probably pronounced wrong, but still, wandering around, but we accidentally end up walking into a grass patch and catch a Hooti, the rarest to actually spawn in the grass, and possibly out of the grass encounters it could be one of the best ones here. We catch the Hoot with no problem and name Hooti. We then go to Wedgehurst Pokemon Lab, where we meet Sonia, who gives us the Pokemon Dex and asks us to go to her grand's house at the end of Route 2 to inform her that we have now been received the Pokédex. On Route 2 we encounter our next Pokemon of Yampa, who we call Pug. We fly through Route 2 and make it to Sonia's grand's house, Professor Magnolia, informing her that we now have a Pokédex in our hands and have another battle with Hop outside. which Hooti just proceeds to sweep through his entire team with disarming voice. After Hop's defeat, our journey officially starts, with Leon endorsing us as gym challengers, allow us to take on the gyms and work our way to the Champions Cup. We then proceed to take the train in Wedgehurst to the wild area, where we get ourselves the next encounter. I decide to go for one of the Pokemon located in a raid den, since they are almost a guaranteed catch and have a chance at a hidden ability. In the raid den, we catch ourselves a Magikarp, who we fittingly name Splush. However, they are level 19, so because of the rules, we have to box it until a gym or rival battle coming up has a Pokemon which is at least level 19 as their highest. So it also means we don't have an overpowered Gyarados very early on, which would kind of defeat the purpose of the challenge. Entering Motorstock and registering for the gym challenges, we have our first encounter with Team Yell. Pug deals with them with no trouble at all, and Hop helps out with Wooloo in the double battle. We then have a brief encounter with Marnie, who Team Yell are supporting throughout this challenge. We then set through the Challengers Cup opening ceremony, which finally allows us to start challenging gym leaders. Before leaving Motorstock, there is actually a fishing spot here which allows for another encounter, which we encounter a Chulette. And we successfully manage to catch them, and we fittingly name them Turtle. As we leave for Route 3, Hop challenges us to yet another battle, which again we easily fry through. Turtle takes down Wooloo, Flame destroys his Grookey, and Pug takes down their newly acquired Rookedeer. Considering Hop was wanting us to catch a load of new Pokemon, he seems to have only gotten one in the 4 possible places that we have passed through. Flying through Route 3, I see a Trubbish in the glass, which would be a great addition to the team with its poison moveset. But as we are about to reach it, the grass shakes and out pops a Rookedeer, so we have to make do with that instead. We catch them and call her Falcon, as it's felt it was an appropriate name for its final evolution and swooping out of nowhere, catching its prey, us. Flame evolves into Raboot and we make our way to Gala Mine. Inside Gala Mine, Hooti has a somewhat close call with a trio of rock-throwing timbers, but with the help of potions and a Reflect Up, he only comes out with a few scratches here and there. Looking back, I probably should have swapped out, but why would a fighting type Pokemon have a rock move? Flying is super effective against fighting, so when did other trainers realise that having counters is a smart thing to do? While looking for our mine encounter, we are ideally hoping for a Drillbur or Timber, since Extra Drill is a ground and steel type, and with Timber's fighting type they could both be very useful down the line. However, we end up running into Roly-Coly, who we do manage to catch and call Coly-Coly. At the end of the mine, we encounter Bead, our third rival of the game, and we basically just sweep through his entire team with Turtle's Bibe. Route 4, another encounter, and this time we encounter the Pokemon I was actually going for, Meowth. Its steel typing would be a huge advantage against fairy types and ice types, both of which have gyms here in this region, and fairy types love to pop all over the place. This would be a huge addition to the team. We luckily managed to catch him and welcome Chadette to the team. I was originally going to call them Chad since I thought it looked like one, but turns out to be a girl, so we had to go with Chadette instead. Since we already have a flying type of Hooti and now a steel type of Chadette, I swapped out Falcon for Chadette. With Chadette in hand, I thought this would be a great idea to train up a bit on the trainers which are left in the area, since they're a similar level and it would help catch up with the rest of the team. However, fate had other plans. Enter Poke Kid Shane and his Pikachu. Chadette enters the fight, Pikachu outspeeds and lands a Thunder Wave, paralysing Chadette. Chadette is then paralysed. Pikachu goes for an Electro Bolt, it hits, leaving Chadette with barely 2 HP alive. Knowing that using a potion, Chadette would still die, as it wouldn't heal enough, and even at full a crit could kill and we wouldn't be able to attack thanks to the paralysed and slower speed. So I switch into Coly-Coly, who has a reasonable speed stat, so Electric Ball shouldn't hit as hard, plus it might know a ground move. Electro hits, but it survives, with over half health left, so I start chipping away at this Pikachu. Pikachu paralyzes Coli, but he powers through, hitting a smackdown. We debate whether to cure the paralization or leave him as he is, but it would eventually just lead to a loop of healing, so we just go straight for another smackdown. Pikachu hits the electrical, and that was the last of Coli. I was about to have a run about how the fact electrical dealt over double damage it did last time, even though no speed stat was risen or reduced. If the target is paralysed, the damage does not increase, until I realised that paralysed does actually reduce the target speed, but just not visibly reduce it. Flame then comes in to take revenge for Coli, finishing the job with a flame charge. Unfortunately, Coli has fainted, creating the death box. Although he was not with us for long, his sacrifice will not be in vain, allowing Chedet to go on and fulfill the destiny of destroying fairy types. Coli will not be forgotten. With the death of Coli, it frees up a space in our party, and with the gym ahead and our team getting to be about the same level, we bring Sploosh the Magikarp into the team. We then enter Turnfield. Hop was waiting for us and told us that Sonia was nearby wanting to have a talk by a hill with a pattern on it. She told us it was about something called the Darkest Day, some big event that happened thousands of years ago, and then immediately after tells us that the grass gym's weakness. We then challenged the gym, and Flame went through it like a walk in the park, okaying his Glossifer, 2-hitting his Dynamax Eldergrass, and earning us the first gym badge. Onwards to Route 5, where we catch ourselves a Drifblim, who we appropriately name Balloon. And at the same time, Sploosh actually evolves into Gyarados. Since we now have a Gyarados, a powerful water type on our team, we swap out Turtle for Balloon, adding a Goat type to our team. Shortly after, Hooti evolves into Knockdown, and we find ourselves a free Toxel from the daycare lady, who we name Zoe. Further down the route, we find Team Yell harassing a guy who just wants to wear a mask to help prevent the spread of COVID. Yeah, that kind of puts in perspective how long ago I started this script before forgetting about it. But we easily dispatch of Team Yell, and the kind citizen improves our Rotom phone, allowing us to turn it into a bike. On the other side of the bridge, Hop is waiting for us and challenges us to yet another battle, where we easily beat him, allowing us to continue on our way to Hilbury to challenge the Water Gym. In Hilbury, we are greeted by Ross, wishing to meet us at a local restaurant, however only once we have beaten the gym. Before challenging the gym, we get ourselves a fishing encounter. We manage to reel up an Aracuda, I don't know, definitely pronounced that wrong, but oh well, who we accidentally one-shot with Hooti while trying to weaken since the first Pokeball was a fail. So with nothing else left to do in Hilborough, we take on the Water Gym, flying through the gym challenge puddle and straight to Nessa. The battle commences, and we send out Pug, who takes down both Nessa's Goldeen and Aracuda with little trouble. Nessa then sends out their trump card of a Dreadnought, who she Dynamaxes, and we do the exact same thing with Pug. Dreadnought outspeeds Pug, hitting a Max Geyser, and with Pug barely hanging in, we hit back and get a lucky crit, dealing just over half damage. With Pug being as low as they are, we have to heal up so they can tank a few more hits from the Dreadnought while it's Dynamaxed. However, due to the rain the Dreadnought created last turn, it gave enough of an attack boost to KO Pug. The second Pokemon we caught being the second death of the run. To avenge Pug, we send out Sploosh, with his Intimidate lowering their attack and the water typing helped to reduce the damage the Dreadnought will deal to us. We managed to finish the fight with just a couple of waterfalls, thanks to the rain boost the Dreadnought provided with his max Geyser. And with Ness defeated, we gain ourselves our second gym badge. But unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to Pug, who helped massively during the fight, and all the gym challengers on the way. With a gap now needing to be filled on the team, we bring in Zoe, the Toxel, keeping the electric type coverage as well as adding poison to the team. With the badge in hand, we meet with Rose and Sonia, who tell us a little more about Dynamaxing and the history of the Gala region. After the meeting we see Hop, who tells us the next gym leader is in Gala number 2, and we should go and see him to get him back to the gym. Inside the mine we encounter Bede again, who challenges us to another battle which we fly through thanks to Sploosh and his bite. After destroying Bede, who apparently let us win, storms off and gives us his league card. A new area means a new encounter, and we manage to find ourselves a Toxicroak, who is easily caught with a great brew, and Toxicroak becomes from now forth on known as Krog, who is immediately put to work and put on the team, sending Zoe back to the box. Sorry Zoe, your time was very short on the team, but since they have a conflicting poison type and a fighting type would be a lot more useful down the line compared to an electric, we make the easy swap. We then encounter Team Yell again, who just want to have a nice battle against us until Hop shows up, aggravating them, causing us to enter a double battle. It was an easy battle and they ran away in the end, and inside the mine we finally meet the fire gym leader Kaiba at the end of the mine. He just finished battling his own set of Team Yell grunts and informed us that he'll be waiting in his gym in Motorstock. Outside the mine we enter Motorstock's outskirts, a new area which I originally thought was a continuation of another route which we had already encountered from, but since it is actually a new area it means we get ourselves another encounter, and this time it's a Sudowoodo, who we name Jessie. No reason behind it, just thought Jessie would be a fitting name. However, they do go straight to the box as there's not much need for him anytime soon, since our current team is more than capable for the next key battles ahead at least. Back in Motorstock, before taking on the gym, we have another encounter with Marini, who this time we have a battle against. We start off with Hooti, who easily takes care of her Grogunk with an extrasensory since Grogunk is 4 times weak to psychic attacks. Our own Grogunk Croc then comes in for the first battle experience, taking care of her Morpeko, and Hooti comes back to finish up the Scraggy in the end, winning us the battle. The next morning arises and it's time to take on the fire gym leader Kaiba. Marini gives us a little advice about the gym and gives us some burn heals to help us with the fight before setting off. Now the fire gym's gym challenge requires us to get 5 points before we can take on the gym leader. We get 2 for catching a Pokemon and 1 for defeating it. And due to this actually being a new area, it does mean we get ourselves a new encounter, and this time we end up with a Scissorpede, who we easily catch and called Cinderpede. But they are instantly blocked since we already have a fire type of Flame, our starter. The gym was a breeze, with Sploosh hitting waterfalls, easily destroying his fire types, while taking a few hits here and there for not very effective damage. And with Kuda's Dynamax Center Scourge defeated, we gain ourselves the 3rd gym badge. With the 3rd gym badge in hand, we are able to go deeper into the wild area, and onwards to Hammerlog. Before re-entering the wild area, Hop and I are both given a warm send-off by the 3 different gym leaders we both defeated. Once back out in the wild area, we are both met by Bede, who challenges Hop to a battle while we continue on our journey to Hammerlog. At the entrance to Hammerlog, we are stopped by one of the League officials to check that we've got on the 3 badges to proceed, Bede appearing not long after with his 3 gym badges after winning his battle against Hop. Inside Hammerlog we are greeted throughout the city by Ross, Leon and Raihan, the gym leader of Hammerlog. We then meet up with Sonia in Hammerlog Vault for a nice date looking at paintings which tell us more of the story of the darkest day. After a quick outfit change we proceed to Route 6, making our way to Stow-on-Side, where the next gym is to take place. On the outskirts of the town we run into Team Yell, blocking the path forwards, and then Hop makes an appearance and we engage in another double battle with them. After easily defeating them, both Chadet and Balloon intervolve Berserker and Drift Balloon. Onwards to Route 6, we get ourselves a new encounter, this time of a Trapinch. With the battle being much closer than I would have liked, thanks to us stupidly sending out Flame, and being unable to swap out due to Trapinch's area trap, we managed to catch the Trapinch with 3 HP remaining. Trapinch is then named the Trap after trapping us in a battle that could have ended in a lot worse. On the other side of Route 6 we end up in Stow-on-Side, where we bump back into Hop who challenges us to a battle, who we easily defeat. After the battle with Hop, he runs off promising us that he will get stronger like Leon. We are then greeted by a strange old lady who says her name is Opal, saying that one should battle for the sake of Pokemon, not for saving the champion's name. Before challenging the gym, we do head back into the wild area to do a little bit of training to bring up our Pokemon to the closer level to the gym leaders. And in the process, Flame evolves into Cinderace. After playing ping pong for the gym challenge, we then take on Alistair, the gym leader. The battle is fairly straightforward, with Sploosh using Dragon Dance and us using an X attack to boost Sploosh's attack, letting us sweep through the whole gym with Waterfall. As we leave the gym with our new badge in hand, we bump into Sonia once more, but suddenly a loud bang comes from the nearby ancient wall painting. Turns out Bede had somehow gotten hold of Ross's elephant bulldozer Kopagura, who is using Destroy the painting in search for wishing stars. To stop him, we engage in another battle which we easily win with Sploosh and his crunch. After defeating Bede, Ross appears and is angry with Bede, taking away his gym challenger rights and bringing him back to Hammerlock. Once they leave, the wall falls down, revealing some statues which tell us more about the Darkest Day and the Sword and Shield were actually Pokemon rather than objects. With our new badge and new information about the Darkest Day, it's time to head onwards to the new gym in Ballonley. To get there, we have to go through Glimwood Forest, a new area and a new encounter. We go up to some funky looking mushrooms where we encounter Impidimp, who is an easy catch, and we call Tyrion as everyone's favourite dwarf. Not much else happens in Glimwood Forest, and once we enter Ballali, I can't pronounce that, we go straight to the gym, where we bump into Marini, who has just finished her battle and wishes us luck on the way in. The gym challenge was very simple, all thanks to Chadet, and answering the questions correctly give us a boost in Chadet's stats. Halfway through the gym challenge, Krog also evolves into Toxicroak. The gym leader battle against Opal was also a breeze, with Chadet sweeping through a whole team thanks to both the Steel type advantage and answering all her questions correctly, boosting his stats. With that done, a new badge has been acquired. After the battle, as we go to leave, Opal comes out asking us if she can accompany us by heading back to Hammerlock, which we graciously accept. Once there, we run back into Bede, who Opal then takes a huge liking to and more or less kidnaps him, taking him back to Ballonley to train him as her apprentice. As we go onwards to Route 7, we bump back into Sonia and Leon, congratulating us on our progress so far. But a loud explosion interrupts the conversation and they tell us just to ignore it and go onward to the next gym. On the bridge to Route 7, we encounter Hop once again, who challenges us to another battle. Starting off, we lead off with Flame, who with one Pyro Ball easily dispatches of Hop's Trevenant. Hop then sends out Snorlax, so we swap into Hooti, whose Air Slashes should easily take out the Snorlax, since it has a very low special defense and high defense stat, hence the switch. However, turns out I was actually wrong for that. I thought that Snorlax had always had a very high defense due to how big and bulky it is, and that its special defense stat was very low. But I've just looked at their base stats and it turns out it's actually the other way around. Unfortunately, thinking these stats were the other way around cost us Hooty's life. They put up a good fight with Reflex to help reduce the damage we would take and healing at the right times, but the Snorlax having 3 layers of stockpiles on, increasing its special defense that much more, and the constant body slams paralysing every time it would hit when the paralysed would be cured, along with not being able to hit through the parasize pretty much every attack. It was definitely not a 25% chance to hit. 1 in every 4 moves should not hit, not 4 moves in a direct row. When it looked like the Snorlax was going to die, Hop used a Hypo Potion, bringing Snorlax's health all the way back up again, and with Hooti being paralysed for a crucial effect, Hooti fainted to the Snorlax. Sploosh was then sent in to revenge their fallen comrade, as they have the most health and the Intimidate should help reduce their attack, giving us the highest chance of not easily dying to this Snorlax. It paid off. Snorlax was defeated by Sploosh. Hop's Boltund was up next, so we swapped the 4 times weak Sploosh for Krog. It seems to have the same strategy as Snorlax, with paralysing immediately and my Pokemon not being able to hit through it at all. But after a lot of switching and healing, the Boltund was knocked out. Luckily, Hop's last two Pokemon were a walk in the park, with a single Pyro Ball from Flame taking out Riverbloom and a single Waterfall from Spush taking out the Heatmor. And with that, we had won the battle, but lost Hooti, the first Pokemon we caught and a key member of the team. It was the first death that really hurt. They'd been with us since the start and it had been quite a while since we had actually had a death. Before the battle, I was thinking this would be an easy fly through the rest of the game with no more deaths, but Hop Snorlax had other plans for us and Hooti. With Hooti's death, it does mean that we now have a free spot on the team, so Tyrion the Impidimp joins the team, along with Balloon being swapped out for Trapinch the Trap. Before moving on, the two new members need to catch up to the rest of the levels of the team, and in the process Tyrion and Trap evolved into Morgrem and Vibravos respectively. With our new team in hand, we venture onwards to Route 7 and get ourselves a new encounter of an Inkay, which we end up running away from since foul play was doing more than half damage to all our Pokemon, so if a ball fails then that's another loss and I'd rather not have. So onwards we go under the bridge to Route 8, where we get ourselves another encounter of Togedemaru, which we kill, so that's another wasted encounter. We then make our way into Chosja, and I've definitely pronounced that name wrong, but that's not the point. We do a quick shopping trip for a different outfit and then head straight onto the gym. We play real life's Minesweeper for the gym challenge and proceed onto the gym leader. We start off the battle with Flame, and a couple of Pyro Balls quickly take care of their first two Pokemon. Next up is Execute, and we swap into Chadet, both for the Steel type being super effective against the ice, and for when the Dynamax Lapras comes out, they'll also be able to deal with that without having the super effectiveness that Flame would have against the water type moves. With a little bit of hassle due to Ice Face ability, Chadet eventually finishes the job, and with that all that's left is Lapras. Both the Chadet and Lapras Dynamax, with Lapras' first two move dealing more or less half the damage and Chadet's first two doing almost half the damage together. The battle was looking like an easy win, since Dynamax turns were about to run out and we could easily outheal the Lapras. However, like the second gym badge, I forgot that Rain actually increased the water attacks, meaning that after healing Chadet past the point that it would have lived, Lapras' Max Geyser KOs Chadet, adding another death to the team. To avenge Chadet and to end the battle, we send in Croc, who takes down Lapras with a quick few brick breaks, winning us our 6th gym badge. As we leave the gym, we meet up with Sonia and Hop, who takes us for a meal and talks more about the Darkest Day stuff. With the date over, Hop gets overly excited and challenges us to another battle. This time around, it's a different story, with Hop easily being taken care of this time, switching out Pokemon and dealing with the Snorlax as quick as possible to stop them from claiming any more lives. With Hop once again defeated, we continue onwards to Route 9, where we get ourselves our next encounter of Gastrojon. Croc lowers Gastrojon's health down to half, so we throw out an Ouch Ball for the catch. Unfortunately, disaster strikes again. After breaking out the ball, Gastrojon hits a super effective Earth Power, knocking out Croc. Another member of our team is lost. We now have a decision to make. Do we run and lose ourselves the encounter, or risk another Pokemon to Gastrojon? We decide to go for it, and luckily it pays off as the next Ultra Ball catches Gastrojon, who we name Squash. Although it is sad to see Croc go, he is replaced by none other than the Pokemon that caused his demise, Squash. As we continue down Route 9, we bump into Team Yell harassing a Dreadnought. Strangely enough, the same guy wearing a mask to help prevent them from COVID asks us to teach Team Yell a lesson. With a quick few battles, we easily take care of him, and the mask wearing man upgrades our Rotom phone with a water bike upgrade for our troubles. Before making our way down to the rest of Route 9, we have a quick team change of swapping out Balloon for Zoe in preparation for the upcoming gym battle. We do need to catch Zoe up, so after a quick leveling session of Raid Dens and XP candies, Zoe does evolve into Toxtricity. Now back to Route 9. We fly through the route, but the only thing I know is Tyrion evolves into Grimmsnarl. Now at the end of Route 9, the gates to Spikemuth, where the next gym is located, have been closed off, so it looks like our gym challenge comes to an end there and there's no way of actually collecting all 8 badges. But luckily for us, Marini is actually nearby and shows us a back entrance to Spikemuth. so we are able to enter the city. However, in exchange for this information, we are challenged to a Pokemon battle. The fight was a breeze, with our newly involved Tyrion taking out the Lapada in one hit. We swap into Trap to take out the Toxtricity, and thanks to a Swagger, we only have one turn of confusion and the attack boosts. Then, to finish off Scrafty and Morpeko, Tyrion comebacks in with a Spirit Break hitting both of them, ending the fight. With Marnie defeated, we are free to enter Spikemouth and take on the next gym challenge and leader. Before taking on the gym, we do a quick Nuzlocke leveling session and the Trap evolves into Flygon, another member of the team that is at its final evolution stage. Now, Spikemouth's gym challenge is probably the most simplest and most like older generation games in itself, as all we have to do is take on a few Team Yell Dragons one after the other until we can make it to the gym leader. It was a breeze thanks to Tyrion being the fairy type, being able to pretty much one hit every Pokemon that stand in his way. The gym leader Piers. Now this is a different story. The battle starts off the same as all the previous Team Grunt Yells. Piers sends out Scrafty, who Tyrion proceeds to one hit with Spirit Break. Next up comes Obstagoon, Piers' ace as their second Pokemon, and this is where our troubles begin. Tyrion hits a Brick Break, dealing almost half health to Obstagoon, but they follow up with a counter, almost knocking us out. This causes us to have to heal up earlier than I would have liked. And after a few more rounds go by, and realising that Tyrion is going to have a hard time, we decide to switch into Sploosh for the extra power they provide. We set up a couple of Dragon Stances on the Obstructs they throw up every other turn, and a couple of Waterfalls later, Obstagoon falls. Malamar comes out next. With Sploosh having done a couple of Dragon Dances, Waterfalls should KO with no problem. Unfortunately, it's not a half, and Malamar survives the hits. They then counter back with Foul Play, which thanks to the two Dragon Dances, it does even more increased damage, knocking out Sploosh. A hard hit for the team. Sploosh has been with us from more or less the start of the run, and has been a crucial member of a lot of the battles. But unfortunately, this is where he meets his end. To finish off Malamara, we send in the Trap, who with a quick bite finishes off what Sploosh started. His final Pokemon is Stun Tank, but this is no problem for the Trap, who easily takes him down with a single Earthquake. And with that, the 7th gym is done, and the badge is us. And with that, the 7th gym is done, and the badge is ours. Unfortunately, we did lose Sploosh, but we did come out on top, and they've done so much for us so far, so it's time for them to have a nice earned rest. With Sploosh now gone, we have another free space on the team, and after some careful consideration, we bring Falcon back. We do have to have a quick leveling session to bring them up to the rest of the team, and they evolve into Corvisquire and then Corviknight respectively. It's now time to head back to Hammerlock and take on the last gym. Before entering Hammerlock Gym, we bump into Sonia, Leon, Hop and Professor Magnolia, who have a theory that the Darkest Day and the random Dynamaxing that has been happening are somehow connected. We do offer to help with the investigation, but we are quickly shut down by Leon, who tells us and Hop to both focus on the gym challenges and the Champions Cup ahead. So onwards to the Hammerlock Gym, a Dragon type gym, which heavily focuses on double battles and weather effects. The gym challenge is fairly simple, it's just 3 double battles, each focusing on a different weather effects. The first, rain, the second, sun, and the third, hail. All 3 were fairly easy with no casualties, and it's now time to take on the gym leader of Raiha. Now, Ryan's team has the final weather effect, or Sandstorm, and has created a sand team which also focuses on Dragon type teams. They start off the fight with Flygon and Gigalith, and we start off the fight with Squash and Tyrion. Gigalith's ability Sandstream sets up the Sandstorm. Flygon then proceeds to hit a Breaking Swipe, but it only hits Squash due to Tyrion being immune. But a quick double team of Spirit Break and Muddy Water knocks out Flygon and leaves Gigalith with just over half health remaining. Gigalith then sets up a Stealth Rock, Sandaconda comes in to replace the Flygon. They hit a Glare on Squash, paralysing them. Tyrion then hits a Brick Break on Gigalith, leaving them with just a sliver of health left, and they proceed to follow up with a Body Slam on Squash, leaving them with just under health remaining. Luckily, Squash fights through the Paralyze and then uses Muddy Water, leaving the Sandaconda with a quarter health left and finishes off Gigalith. Duraludon, I definitely said that wrong, Ryan's Ace enter plays. They immediately Dynamax, and we follow up with Dynamax and Tyrion. Sandaconda starts off with a Protect, and Duraludon hits a Max Steel Spike on Tyrion, leaving them with only 10 HP remaining. Thankfully we Dynamax Tyrion, otherwise they would have been a goner there. Tyrion then hits a max health on Delirium, followed by a Muddy Water from Squash, leaving Durian with just over half health remaining. And as the turn ends, Sandstorm hits, leaving Tyrion with only 1 HP remaining. Using Squish's turn, we use a Bax Potion on Tyrion to bring him back to full health. Luckily enough, both Durian with a Max Knuckle and Sandaconda with a Earth Power hard focus Tyrion, yet he is still standing with over half health remaining. Predicting another hard focus, we use a Hyper Potion to bring Tyrion back to full once more. Sandaconda uses Protect once more, and Delirium uses a Max Steel Spike. Unfortunately, due to the Max Knuckle the turn before, Tyrion meets their end. To take revenge for Tyrion, we end up sending in the trap. Delirium then uses Body Press on Squash, it's a crit, and that makes us our second death to the battle. I don't think the crit actually mattered there, but I'm gonna say that it did just to make myself feel a little bit better. The trap then digs, which makes Sandaconda's glare miss, and to take revenge of Squash, Falcon swoops in. Another body press from Delirium brings Falcon down to only a quarter health, but luckily the trap comes up from the dig and finishes off Delirium's rampage. Falcon Drill pecks Sandaconda, bringing them down to red, activating their ability Sandspit, which brings the Sandstorm back once more. They then hit a glare on Falcon, paralysing them, but the trap comes through, finishing off Sandaconda with a crunch and ending the battle. The 8th and final gym badge is in our hands, and we can now make our way to the Champions Cup. However, the victory did not come out without its losses. Both Tyrion and Squash met their demise, who are both powerful and would have been great helps with the upcoming battles, but we now have to figure out who we are going to replace them with. With the loss of 2 members of the team, we have to work out how to replace them with. For the time being, we bring back in Balloon, who has been in and out of the team throughout the whole run. And the second Pokemon we bring back is Turtle, who was briefly on the team but quickly got swapped out. Now obviously both Balloon and Turtle need to catch up on levels, and in the process Turtle does evolve into Dreadnought. After leaving the 8th gym, we are greeted by Sonia and Professor Magnolia, who briefly inform us of more about the Darkest Day information they have discovered, and note that it has something to do with the legendary Sword and Shield. Afterwards, Magnolia hands over a lab coat to Sonia, finally making her a professor. We then make our way to Hamlock Station, where we meet up with Hop and proceed to take a train towards Wyden and the Champions Cup. Unfortunately, the train doesn't actually take us all the way to Wyden, so we do have to make our way for the final route of the game, Route 10, but this does mean we get ourselves another encounter. Our Route 10 encounter is Chubchoo, who we actually successfully capture and call Pearchew. Our first Ice type, giving us the extra type coverage that we need, and once they evolve they should hopefully be a force to reckon with. We then proceed to immediately add them to the team, swapping them out for Turtle. Once again, Turtle's time was very short-lived on the team. Continuing through Route 10, we battle a few trainers here and there, but nothing our team couldn't handle, and along the way Bearchew does evolve into Bear Arctic. We then make it through the route and proceed to enter Wyden. It's now time for the Champions Cup.